Well, we've been shooting with a very special EV on Tech today, and I'm a little tired and feeling a little lazy, so I don't know how I should open my door. Let's try some tech. Hello, BMW. Open all doors.
Should I open all doors?
Yes.
I will do that now.
I feel like Batman right there. All doors of the BMW i7 opened, and just in case you want to, well, shut this door automatically, the power doors in full splendor on the BMW i7. Yes, over the years you've seen the 7 Series and all the engineering marvels from BMW, but this is the electric flagship. All electric sedan BMW i7 coming on Tech today. Well, the BMW i7 has a lot happening on the outside with that amazing grille, of course these Swarovski crystals right here in the DRL, but then there's so much happening in the front seat, and I have to tell you this as a tech enthusiast, the real action, spoiler alert, is in the rear seat. So, picture abhi baki hai. Let's start off with the coolest feature in this particular EV, power doors, right? You can do this by pressing that button. You can do it with an automatic button over here. You can also do this via voice commands. There's a myriad ways in which you can do this, but now let's get inside. So as I was saying, you press the automatic button and there you go. The BMW is all set with your particular profile. I select this profile right here, and like most luxury cars, the seat has begun to adjust itself for my height, for my comfort. A nice welcome to the BMW i7. So the Well, when we want to tell you about so many more features, what I have to do is press start. There, it feels like the cockpit is ready, the plane is ready for takeoff. The Hans Zimmer sound has played. Put the car in D. Is it on? Is it off? The car is moving, and that means we're ready to give you our first drive review. Well, the minute you get behind the wheel of the i7, boy oh boy, it's a smooth drive. So smooth that you actually don't want to be sitting in the driver's seat, especially in the city, because this is a heavy car. I enjoy it. It's very different from the EQS, but this is the first time I have felt that an electric car should be chauffeur driven. That's not because the drive experience is lacking in any way. The drive experience is amazing. That's because the rear seat experience is mind-boggling. That's why I need a driver and I want to sit in the back seat, but I'll show you that as well. Well, we're passing one of the most expensive private properties in the world. I don't know if they have an i7 inside over there, but they have practically every other car for any tech and auto enthusiast. I can just say this, unsolicited advice, the i7 is certainly worth adding to a stellar lineup of cars, because if you like the 7 Series but you want to go electric and you want even more tech, especially in the rear seat, then this is the answer. Well, we're driving here in a very posh locality of South Bombay, and of course you see all sorts of fancy cars. Right in front of me is the BMW 7 Series. Until now, quite the gold standard when it comes to BMW luxury and flagship, so to speak. But since we're calling it a flagship, and just like we do in the world of tech, this is the new contender, heavily loaded with tech. And honestly, when I'm sat here in the i7 and you look at the 7 Series, that's like the older sibling looking at the younger sibling saying, hey, you know what? You've done well, young boy. And you had big shoes to fill, but you've done a fantastic job. The i7 really looks like something from the future, even when you compare it to the BMW 7 Series. By far, one of the coolest features in the BMW i7 for a tech geek is a tech feature. It's called AR, or augmented reality. And what you can do with this particular feature is take the navigation system and then mirror it on your instrument cluster right here. High definition, the camera comes on, and using augmented reality, it starts displaying route guidance. Tells you that we have to go straight, take a right. On this particular road, it's a feature which is work in progress, but the fact that they're doing this in a vehicle, an EV, really gets me excited. The only catch is that you can only do this now with the BMW navigation system. You can't do this with Google Maps or Apple Maps at this point, but I'm guessing that'll be fixed with the subsequent software update. For now, mind absolutely blown by this AR feature in the BMW i7. Fun fact about the i7, yes, it is much heavier than a lot of other EVs, but if you're comparing it to the EQS, one of the best EVs we have had on tech today, then there is a small difference, which is that the EQS, as amazing as it was, something that really worked for it was range. Range-wise, yes, this is nearly half as potent or capable as the EQS, at least in its current avatar, but something about the suspension. Whenever we drove the i7 on any speed breaker or potholes on Mumbai roads, 9 out of 10 times, the BMW i7 performed flawlessly, and obviously our suspension was on our side, even without using this particular feature which lifts the suspension. Ground clearance is adjusted to a higher level, and it's a nifty little button over here. On the EQS, I remember we had to do it from this particular cluster, and it was a little bit more to manage. So much talk of Tesla coming to India. Remember, the first Tesla on Indian roads that you actually saw, the Model 3, was on this particular show and this same little tech geek. But when we're talking about the EQS, perhaps the pinnacle, automatically it showed me a collision avoidance warning, because 360 cameras saw a kid running on the other side of the road who was possibly going to cross. I'm very impressed that the car gave me that warning. It could have also taken over some form of steering if I had given it that override in the functions, but I haven't chosen that option because my eyes are on the road. But again, when I'm talking about ground clearance for these kinds of EVs, it's important to note that the Mercedes EQS, which was the pinnacle of tech on tech today when we're talking about EVs, Yes, the EQS did have a way to increase the suspension height. And yes, the i7 does have a button right here for ground clearance. Vehicle will be adjusted to a higher level. That's the flick of a small button over here, but I haven't had to use this. So let's just put it this way, the Mercedes EQS versus the BMW i7 on Mumbai roads. Let's give you a practical answer. 9 out of 10 times, the i7 didn't even require me to press the suspension button, and it took all potholes, speed breakers in its stride. The suspension was so smooth, we never felt a speed breaker, and well, the bottom part of the car did not touch the road. Hats off to this particular vehicle for that. The EQS, let's just say, well, 4 out of 10 times or 5 out of 10 times, we sort of had a decent ride. The other 50%, it did touch those speed breakers. And if you go through all our footage while shooting this, the i7 has done a splendid job at managing those speed breakers and potholes. So, well, the i7 literally comes out on top in that department. So what happens when you take a luxury EV from the Germans and then couple that with a Hollywood music composer, Hans Zimmer, and then make him tune the sound of this particular i7? Well, let me show you. If you're in expressive mode, this is what he thinks it should sound like. And honestly, it's like Blade Runner or Star Wars all over again. Check this out. Well, that was just obviously expressive mode. Then you also have sport mode. And then all these spaceship-like sounds are mitigated, and it sounds like a car ready to take on maybe the likes of the SVR or one of those nice sports cars that we've seen on the show. And I'll show you this one as well. So this is the sport mode, but the most important mode in the car is the boost mode. And that is a sound profile I need you to hear. And honestly, all I can say is, if you watched Fast and the Furious and you liked how they used to play with NOS, then this is a mode which is only, well, valid for 10 seconds. Even the manufacturers don't let you use this for more than 10 seconds. That's because there's so much power on offer with the boost mode. You flick this little paddle right here, 10 seconds. And that's all the car can give you. 0 to 100 in what, nearly 4 seconds, and the car flies. So the BMW can actually memorize parts in and around, and if you don't feel like parking, well, then you know what? Why don't you just start the reversing assistant and the car will do just the job for you. And just like that, the BMW has taken over. Look, ma, no hands. The car is all set to park in my parking spot. Let's hope they get it right. Oh. Also, children, please don't try this at home, and ensure that software updates are done on the BMW i7 when you're doing this, because this is the future. The car does the job for you. And yes, well, you don't need to use the steering. So while you are a little cautious about what's happening, the car has done the parking for you. Well, that's how tech can make your life a whole lot easier. Well, no real complaints about testing all these big boy toys on the show, but the one gripe that I can perhaps have is the fact that I'm always in the driver's seat, or always leading the charge, hosting the show, or making a quick reel for you guys. I like to sometimes sit in this rear seat, especially if it's a car as luxurious as this and as tech loaded in the rear seat as much as it is in the front seat. I'll give you an example. You swipe up on these 5-inch mobile-like screens on either end of the rear seat, and there's a theater option, which I click on, fold down. And guess what happens? The entire cabin changes altogether, shades up, Hans Zimmer sound coming right here, and a 31-inch screen shows up from nowhere. This tiny little screen on the side, well, these are the two small screens and the one big one for the rear passenger, also has one trick, and that's only this screen, because obviously it's not a driverless car. You've had a long day at work, it's been a hard day's night, And this particular car knows exactly that. In a matter of seconds, the seat has adjusted to the lounge position that I want. Someone of my height knows that they need this much space. The footrest will then pop out. The seat goes into recline mode. And honestly, with the noise cancellation and the way the cabin is insulated from the outside noise, this feels like a retreat in Goa or Bali. I promise you this. This 31-inch screen is absolutely mind-boggling. The way it was just crouching tiger, hidden dragon, ensconced over here in the top. I didn't even know it was there. But the minute you're playing something like this, the sound is Dolby audio. I know Hans Zimmer has done a lot with the audio tuning of this car, but honestly, maybe, just maybe, stop going to cinema halls after you're sitting here. Power doors on the BMW i7, the electrified version of the 7 Series. There's a smile on a tech geek's face every time we see that feature in action. A very different approach from the Bavarian BMW stables when we talk about how they look at their flagship limousine. Forwardism is what they're calling it, a look, a sneak peek into the future. And a very different approach compared to how Mercedes looks at its EQS. The EQS, which was quite a hot favorite on Tech Today, and a lot of you all wrote to us as well, is 50 lakhs cheaper than this, but it is built on a very different sort of platform. This one with its electric powertrain is very potent, very slick, and although it's an EV, it does still feel like a BMW, and that's what I enjoyed. The perfect blend of actually driving an internal combustion engine, very powerful, luxury, sports car-like feel with all the Hans Zimmer tuned sounds. This is something we're going to miss on the show. And the look, this grille, the Bavarian grille, is something you either love or hate, but I personally love it because it commands such a presence, knowing that it's an electric, but still such a tough nut. I think this is an absolutely gorgeous car. Yes, we've enjoyed reviewing some of these features and testing what the BMW i7 is all about. But honestly, with all the tech we've seen on this particular vehicle, it perhaps ranks in the top 3 big boy toys we've ever had on Tech Today. And honestly, well, we're smiling when we look at the BMW i7.